All right. I am here with my good friend and one of my favorite people in this entire world, Mr. Frederick Wilde. And to get an understanding of who he is to me in my life, there are some people that are kind of crazy. And Frederick is nothing like that. Because kind of crazy is sort of like a blend of kind of crazy. It's a little bit crazy. Frederick to me is a person that is doing nothing that isn't extreme. He's always at the very end of any range. So Frederick to me is very, very kind. Honestly, probably the most generous person I have ever met, and thoughtful and kind and respectful. And at the same time, he's probably the most crazy person I have ever met. He's always up to something that would seem very insane to most people. And I'm sure we will hear some stories at some points. So, Frederick, it feels really great to speak with you on video. How are you?
Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Emil. I feel really good today. How do you feel?
Awesome. I'm very curious, and I'm curious about if you had to choose, what is the most important thing to you? Kindness or craziness?
Federico is mucho loco.
Federico is mucho loco.
So I like crazy, but it doesn't have to be, in my point of view, either that or that. It can be both,
Ah.
in my point of view. But I really like crazy and spontaneity and playfulness.
Mm. I can see that. And so I know you really value generosity and playfulness, craziness. What other skills would you say are the most important to you, and what do you value the most in your personality?
What I value the most,
Mm.
I think, is my brutal way of how I deal with my courage.
Courage.
Yes. So imagine every time you have a limiting thought, you can't do that, or I feel I don't want to. Imagine what would happen with that person's life if you invite courage in every time you hear or are aware that you hear those thoughts.
I like the
life stories to share.
I like the idea of this. So, would you maybe be able to tell a story about a time where you had this limiting thought inside of you and you used courage to go against it?
If you can be more specific, it would really help me to be, because I have many stories to tell. So if you're more specific.
Right. So, do you have a story from maybe your day-to-day life where you feel that this is weird, I can't do this, and then you choose to go against that feeling? To make it more specific, what you mean by courage?
So imagine that, in my point of view, the human mind always wants something that doesn't have, right? So every time we are projecting out and looking for, where is the thing I'm dreaming of or wanting or needing? So let's say it's just, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to free associate. So I'm going to tell like women that I ever have in a relationship with, I met them on the streets or in the subway or at the grocery store. Every time I feel I would like to introduce myself or want to talk about something or with someone I've never met, most people think that is jumping into the cold water. And I'm so eager just to jump in it and talk to that person, introduce myself, or just starting something, start a conversation. So, yeah.
And is the reason you want to jump into these situations to get to know that person, or is it to go against your fear or practice courage? What is the main reason for doing so?
One of the greatest life philosophy questions is, who am I? And I get determined that question every time I act. And I want to see who I am.
Huh. I like that perspective. Because I hear so many personal development people say, think positive thoughts and that will create who you are. And I think what I see you different, I know you in real life, is that you are taking a lot of actions and that creates who you are.
Yeah. I rather see the output that I do, and okay to define myself with that, rather than the idea I wish I were.
Yeah.
So I rather be so real and look at the data of my behavior and evaluate from there, and try again and again and again until I have a satisfaction of, wow, I'm really enjoying this part of my character. To me, it's eating a buffet of emotions that I can taste and feel and enjoy on my day-to-day life. Everywhere I'm going, every person I meet, I can enjoy to be with me.
And is that because you have gone against your fears so many times that you don't feel it? Or is it because you have learned to be better at feeling all kinds of emotions? You're better at eating the dish in your personality that maybe doesn't taste that good, but it's on the plate.
To me, the experience began with game. And the game was the following. I committed myself. I did not have a stop date to this commitment, and I think I still are doing this game of my own life. And every time the game is the following. Every time I'm aware that I am afraid, I have to do a 180-degree turn and go totally against that. For example, I would like to go and talk to that person. No, don't go and talk to that person. They will hate you. What do you mean they will hate me? And I hear what they are saying. Okay. I should go and talk to that person then. So sometimes I play with that 100, 200, 300 times a day. Sometimes I do that 500 times in just 1 hour conversation, because the mind is so quick of judging of what the world is.
So with 500 times, do you mean that every time you have a thought that you think, oh, maybe this is a limiting thought, you do the opposite? Or do you mean that you question the thought in your mind to clarify?
Well, I do both, but to be more specific of this challenge I gave myself is every time I would like to do something, or I feel curious about something, that's something that keeps my attention. In that moment, when I have a limited thought or a limited emotion, I listen to what that is, but still goes totally against that. And feeling that judgment in my own head while I'm putting myself in that intense situation.
And I guess maybe if you are listening to this, you might be thinking, why the hell would I want to do that? Like, what's in it for me? Because why would I do something that sounds unpleasant unless there is a reward or something? What is your reward?
I can live my life. My life. Not from the cultural standards, what parents think, not what anyone wants from you. But I can really live my life. I can totally explore who I am. Stand up for that. It's, to me, one of the the greatest feelings to know who I am, and also to enjoy what I am.
In the beginning of this conversation, I said that you are, to me, a very crazy person, someone that is wild. And after this conversation, maybe that craziness or wildness is a result, or what outsiders, the idea outsiders get of your bravery. It's the end result of bravery from an outsider's perspective.
What's your thought on that more?
Thank you for that question. But what looks crazy for other people might be your experiment of braveness. And so in order to practice the skill of braveness, you have to risk looking crazy. And I guess would you say that it's worth it? What can you use that braveness to accept for talking to people in the street?
What do you use it for? You have to use it every single time you are aware. I mean, come on, this body is built for make me survive.
But what if I don't want to? What if I'm having a slow day, I'm at the grocery store, I think I should want to talk to someone, but I feel ugly, tired, I have my glasses on, I haven't fixed my haircut, I feel greasy, I don't want to do this, I don't have energy today.
Then just remember this statement. Fuck it! Screw that! It's not about succeeding. It's not about succeeding. If you feel ugly, then feel ugly. Listen to that part that doesn't want to represent yourself in that state, and still go and talk to that person. Just introduce yourself. Have a limit. Like this, the smallest amount of effort is to go against it and just start it. And if it fails, feel the shame and come back into your emotional cave.
I think one thing you said in this sentence is one of the most important things I have learned over the last years. And that is the sentence, it's not about succeeding. That's such a mind shift for me. And now it makes a lot of sense, I understand it. But for someone maybe that doesn't understand that concept, what do you mean by it's not about succeeding?
So from my point of view, a lot of people want to have the end result, right? They are looking for that target. They're aiming for it.
Yeah.
And today, maybe they are here. They want to close the gap.
And to clarify for someone listening on audio, what are you showing with your hands right now?
Yeah, thank you for that. So I'm holding a hand above my head and saying they are looking up and reaching for a target, and they feel that they are lower than that. They cannot execute that goal at this moment. So to close that gap where you are to where you want to be is one of the most questions in personal development, right?
Yeah.
The question is how. A lot of people are asking how. I have always asked myself another kind of question. What skill am I lacking to be able to execute what I see? What skill is missing so I'm able to execute what I see?
Right.
So, I'm sorry, continue.
Can I make this practical so it's easier to understand? Let's say that I'm in a supermarket, and I see a girl that I find attractive. And now I would like to go up and talk with her. And what I want, of course, is for that to go successful. I would like for her to like me. I want things to be successful, but you're saying now that it's not about succeeding. I don't see, well, I see, but can you explain how that makes sense?
What is, let's say, if you have that quest to go and talk to women that you find attractive and you're just starting with it, and maybe you are at the place where you're shaking, you have a lot of anxiety going forward, you're stuttering, you cannot hold eye contact. So the skill is to be able to handle shame, being not worthy, dealing with the intense feeling with fear. So that is the practice. Deal with those emotions. Feel them. Train yourself. Put yourself in a situation where you have to practice your skills. And eventually, maybe 1, 2, 300 times, you can deal with it so great that you can just be yourself in those situations. And you can just let go.
So it's not about succeeding with this actual girl or outcome. It's about seeing what skills am I lacking right now, and can I use this circumstance to practice those skills. But it's not going to feel comfortable. What if it's too painful to do that?
Define too painful, please.
What if it just the thought of that? I imagine so much pain that I can't get started.
Define can't get started.
It's like my psyche doesn't let me go there. I'm thinking in my mind, okay, I would like to talk to her, but instead I'm choosing not to, and I just go about my day.
Listen to this. You will never be ready. You will never be ready fully. That's the statement that I have in my head. And I would start with the minimum. Go there and say, hi. That's it.
And then run.
Yeah, and then maybe walk away.
Yeah.
And feel that shame. Because it's not about talking to and succeeding with a woman. It's about dealing with the skill that you are at this state lacking. So if it's shame, if you can't keep eye contact, practice eye contact a little bit weirdly for 5 seconds. And feel how weird that is for you, and how you just want to run away. You just have many voices and feelings wanting to influence you to turn away and go. Be with that for 2 more seconds. I gotta go now. Bye. And do an awkward outro if that is what you can do.
So when you say,
clarify that?
Yeah, it did. But I guess what I'm wondering is, when you say dealing with shame or these uncomfortable emotions, are you just talking about exposing yourself to them, or do I need to do some internal psychological or spiritual karate and try to change my experience? How do you mean deal with it?
I think that is a common strategy for a lot of people to have emotional and mental strategies to cope with the horrible sensations that life brings. I have not done that in that extent. I would rather put myself in a situation over and over and over again, feeling all these sensations, high stress level, feel them. What are they really? Are shame that scary? Is unworthiness really that painful? Why are you checking out when you feel unworthy? And being with the sensation, that's the beauty about emotion. You think they will sometimes kill you, but they will never do that. Just a big chunk of the population think that because you feel you're gonna die, it doesn't mean that you will. So eventually, when you have that emotional stamina, you can start doing internal dialogues and internal work.
Mm. So you're saying now then that instead of trying to feel good or feel better, you want to get better and have more endurance to feel and to feel more different emotions.
Not just different emotion, but of course endurance and stamina of being with all the emotions that most people, and maybe people listening right now, are afraid of. Fear. Most people still believes it's true. A lot of people saying great statements as fear is just false evidence appearing real. And then I just look at them and saying, when did you feel afraid last time? And they say, oh, a month ago? And they tell that story. And then I say, are you really aware what is going on in your world? Are you really living your life? I feel fear maybe hundreds or thousands of times a day. So a lot of people know a lot about fear intellectually, but emotionally, a lot of them is weak and can't deal with the intense process going on in their body.
So you have experienced in your life that your self-awareness come from awareness of how you deal with difficult emotions and experiences, and that's how you know who you are.
Yes.
And when did you start to walk this path? Have you always been doing this?
No, but I've been doing this for a decade.
So at some point then you made a shift from trying to feel better to be better at feeling. And why did you decide to do this?
It was a decision forced on me. Not from my point of view, but from life. I'm doing a speech. It's a long one, maybe 60 to 90 minutes. And at this recording, its title is When Do People Really Start to Live? So to tell that story, I would rather make it exclusive for those who would like to come and listen to that speech. It was a massive turning point in my life. Massive. It changed everything.
I get excited about that story now. So, do you feel ready closing the loop on bravery? Because I'm curious what other skills you would say are important to be a human that is really living, like you said, living an intentional life. Would you be ready to close that loop? And
I'm ready.
All right. So we've been talking about bravery and how you see that as a very useful life skill. What other internal things do you think makes a really whole and effective and intentional person?
A whole and intentional person.
Yes.
What do you think that most people experience on a day-to-day basis? Let's start. I think it would be interesting to start there.
My judgment of many people I see around me is that they experience a pain from distraction and a lack of engagement.
And why do you think that is?
I think they spend a lot of time doing things that they don't really want to do, and then they distract themselves from it with technology or other addictive behaviors.
I actually think that one of the biggest blockages that people have is they're not aware of the mental processing of logic. So when you feel you want to do something as a person, and you have a counter thought to that, saying, that is not really suitable at this moment because we are going here tomorrow and we have to do this tonight and this has to be done. So we can't do that right now. Can you connect with that? The rational thought that is rationalizing why you can't do that?
Yeah, and it's filled with have tos and can't and shouldn'ts.
And that, from my point of view, is fear using a very strong tool in our mind, logic, against us. And we think it's true, really true. This is one of the trickiest parts I have ever dealt with when it comes to clients who want to live out their full potential. Is they are rationalizing everything. They don't dare to listen what is going on in their body. And when they listen, when they take the few moments to really listen what is going on, I always hear a story why they shouldn't do it. And it sounds like high logic and really strong reasons and evidence why they should not do that. To be aware of them is a tricky thing, to just observe what is going on inside of you. And the tricky part of being a human is to, when should you listen to your thought? Go against your thought. When should you listen to your emotion? And when should you not listen to your emotion and go against it? My challenge to most people in those situations is try. Right now, it's not about succeeding again. Right now, we're just going to explore what is what in you. When should you listen to thought? When should you go against it? When should you listen to emotion? And when should you definitely go against it? To distinguish what is what, that your brain needs data. Data is situations. And sorry to say, situations that you definitely don't want to be in. So later you can process objectively what is what. And to recalibrate how you will deal with the situation next time. What should you explore next time? What should you try next time? A lot of people that are yet not successful are, from my point of view, dealing with the wrong approach. They have such a fixed mindset of succeeding that they cannot pick up the lessons that is right in front of them. So I challenge a lot of people.
Could you elaborate on that? I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
A very fixed idea of what success is, and that narrow focus is causing them to not be able to learn.
Exactly, to see what they have to learn so they can then create the result that they see. So if you yet don't have success, relax. If you are very ambitious, eventually you will have, your skill will match an opportunity. So relax, your success will come. Now, maybe you are in a life where you must learn and develop skills. So picking up the cues, picking up where you actually are, not where you wish you were, where you actually are. And just start expanding your knowledge base and what you can deal with. Building up the skill. And when the opportunity is in front of you, success, in my point of view, goes like that quick. So I played with this thought for a decade. It's better to prepare for an opportunity that is not there than have an opportunity in front of you and not be prepared. So freaking prepare, train. Build this skill, which is needed, which is you. There's nothing external of you. All the success you will have in your life is going to come from your internal world first. And then it's going to match with the outer world.
You know, one part of me, I could imagine, if I'm in a psyche with a lot of logic that is working against me and using fear to stop me from doing things, that fear is probably hijacking my imagination as well, my creativity. I think fear can be creativity used against myself, finding really imaginative ways why things are going to go to the poopers, right? And then to go from that place to a place where I just keep challenging those things all the time, that seems like kind of an exhausting way to live. I mean, isn't there an easier way to do this?
Can you elaborate what you think it would be exhausting to live like that?
To have to, in my experience, sometimes if I'm in a social setting and I'm thinking, I get that pure imagination that thinks it would be really fun to do this crazy thing. Or if I did this, I would certainly be out of my comfort zone and get new experiences. And then it's almost like something in my mind is programmed towards doing the thing that I have done before. It's like my mind wants to be lazy. It wants to do things that are already comfortable. Mm. And I can see how, I'm guessing now, that this is stopping me a lot of the times and a lot of humans against me. I can see what I should do, but it's kind of more comfortable to do what I've always have done.
So can I then ask you some questions and help me create a narrative of what that is about?
Of course.
So how does that person's life look like, for example? Can you be more elaborate? If they want something, what are they thinking, feeling?
Maybe it's more suitable if I use a situation from my life where I have not done this. So I don't speak about other people. Okay. In February, I think this was on Valentine's Day. And 1 week before Valentine's Day, I was in a supermarket. And I was talking to one of the girls in the cashier, and she was talking about Valentine's Day and saying, next week, I don't have anyone to date with, so I'm just going to work. And I just talked normally. And then 1 week later on Valentine's Day, I came back and I went to her cashier and I bought her a rose. And I said, I wanted you to feel appreciated on Valentine's Day. And if you want to, give me a call. And I gave her my number. I thought that was really sweet. She didn't call me. And this was it was a bit awkward. And she works at my supermarket. So now I'm going back, and I've seen her a couple of times, and I haven't chosen her cashier after that.
Why not?
Exactly. And now last time, I think 1 week ago, I was at the supermarket, and there was an extra price on chocolate that I like. So I bought 40 chocolate bars. And I was in this situation again. I had my glasses on, I was greasy hair, I didn't look my best, I wasn't in a good mood, I didn't have a lot of energy. And again, now I have to choose, right? I can pick a lane in this life metaphor. Either I can pick the lane of going to, there's an old guy working in one cashier. So I can pick that low intensity lane, right? Or to experience difficult emotions, I can pick the lane where she works and have to face her look and say, oh no, not this guy.
Yeah.
And make her uncomfortable and me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? And can you guess what I choose?
I think you chose the hard road.
I choose the old guy.
Are you kidding me?
I did.
Why are we spending time together? Come on, man. What happened?
And then I walked away from there, and I thought, okay, so choosing the harder here, it's not gonna change my life instantly. But if and I got this idea from you, so I was thinking afterwards, what would Fred have done? And choosing the harder there, it's not gonna change my life overnight. But if I'm doing that 100 times, 200 times, 1,000 times over many years, like how is that going to change my personality? It's the same way as going to the gym one time is not going to make me into have a model body. But if I go many times, things are going to happen. But then again, my brain worked against me and choose the comfortable route.
So, do you want to do improvised role play?
Yes.
Could you be cashier and can I play you in this?
Yeah.
All right. I can imagine that you did not even have a basket, that you just pulled out your hand and filled your arm with 40 chocolate bars. So you look.
I did have a basket and a couple of ice cream boxes as well.
Okay.
I stacked up on Nick's ice cream.
Yeah. So in the moment where you are able to choose, use your free will. Darn it, there's an opportunity here to experience intensity. So more of the inner dialogue. Okay, I hear you don't want that. Oh, I feel tense in my body. I clinch up. It looks very tempting to take the other lane. But then, who do I want to be? Darn it! Okay. What is the minimum barrier that this is worth it? I often ask myself. And I then take a small number or a small outcome. And then I think in my head, everything above it, I can enjoy. All right, what do I want to play with right now? I want to play with awkwardness. I'm assuming that she's gonna feel this is very awkward. I feel awkward. Okay, let's face awkwardness. Choose the hard road. So you hear the setting has been set. You go in and you pull out all your items, and then she looks at you. And what does she do? Now we begin. Improv.
She doesn't say anything. You can't see this on video, so I'm gonna tell what my look is if you're listening. Her eyes are saying, "Oh no, not him! Why? This is so awkward." And then she says, "Hi," and looks down.
And then, "Hey, it's me, the awkward 14th of the Valentine's miserable experience tryout guy.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?"
I'm okay.
Yeah. Beep, beep, beep. And I say, "So, well, I really tried last time, didn't I?"
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah. So, can at least get a score on trying?
You didn't have to.
Okay.
Do that.
Do what you mean?
Do that gesture.
I must say, my intention was to at least show appreciation. And I'm just curious, did you feel that I was trying to show appreciation?
I guess.
All right. So I have to just tell you, this is where I shop all my food. And I just want to break the barrier of maybe the feeling of awkwardness, because I felt very awkward afterwards. I
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. So now we both know. I'm just gonna rub that off and let it. I'm gonna maybe not try next year, or maybe I will.
I like this. This story is a metaphor for life. It really is. And how many times during your day do you have these kind of options? You have two lanes to pick in life supermarket. But I think many times, at least for me, I don't. If it wasn't for spending a lot of time with you, learning the idea about it's not about success or having a good experience, it's about building skill sets. And we build skill set when we are voluntarily putting ourselves in positions to feel all of these uncomfortable emotions. So I know 2 years ago in my life, there would have only been one lane for me. And with only one lane, you know, I can see my future being very repetitive and nothing can change or improve. So what if I don't even see that second lane?
Good question. Good question. Do you think that they will see it then now?
Could you repeat that?
Do you think that people are listening or watching this, do you think that they can see that more? Not fully, but just more in their life after this recording?
I think it takes creativity. I think it takes creativity just walking down the street, and instead of being inside logic or repetition in your mind, you need to be in creativity and see what can I do that I haven't done before. And again, that is why I was talking about the brain being lazy, and by lazy I just mean it wants to conserve energy. Creativity takes energy. And I mean, what if you don't have energy? What if you work all day, 9 to 5, and when you come back home, your mind is so tired that all you want to do is just check out, watch something easy, because you gave all of your energy to your employer.
I must say, after a lot of coaching, hundreds and hundreds of meetings and sessions, people always know where they're not showing up. So people listening right now, pull out a pen and paper, pause this recording, and answer the question, where am I conscious today where I am not showing up? And another question, what was the last situation where I knew I could have showed up and did it? People are aware of some things. So I think by digging just a little bit, take just a few minutes to think of this, I think actually people know.
I like what you're saying now. And especially I think with a story like this, and to see that you actually have lanes to pick all the time, to start thinking in your life, when do I have a lane to pick? Maybe you don't need to walk it the first time, or maybe you could if you want to jump in the ice water. But just be aware that life is giving you an option a lot of the time.
And then the minimum is go against it. Just some part. You don't have to follow through all the time, everywhere, constantly. It's maybe just a few times every day, fully. Go fully. And maybe 80-70% of the time, go towards it. Because when we just did the simulation, I was really trying to feel the situation and if I was truly you. Just simulating this made me cringe. And made me have blockages in my head, and I had to jump in the game again, jump in and try again and think and involve myself in the situation, even in the simulation. I'm failing every day. I'm cringing, and I have this intense experience that I feel ashamed of every single day.
You know,
Still, I must say.
I think it's important to clarify what you say now, that this doesn't cause you to stop feeling certain emotions. It causes you to be better at feeling them. And what I liked about the way you simulated what happened in your mind now is that you had to choose to be engaged in this situation.
Mm.
And my guess and my judgment of people around me is that they are lacking a sense of engagement during long parts of their days. So choosing to be engaged, is that like a muscle, would you say? Or does that happen when you do things that you enjoy?
Choice. Freaking choose.
Choose engagement.
Choose. Today, if you want to have a better life today by listening to this, choose. Commit. Choose. Decide. Every time you want to tap out, tap in again, because you have already chosen. Decide and use your free will. Overrule what is going on in your internal world. There's a huge strength and capacity in willpower.
Overrule.
Overrule.
I think overrule is a good word to start wrapping up this dialogue. Do you have something more you want to add? Because we talked a lot about bravery today. We talked about going against difficult emotions. We talked about practicing skill sets instead of reaching certain outcomes. And we talked about that, the skill of bravery, and how that can cause you to seem crazy from the outside, but on the inside, it can create a beast that is able to overrule. Do you have something more you want to add to someone listening?
I would love to. And it's the following. Down below in the link, I'm going to send you a link, Emil, and it's about, I'm willing to commit to help people closing the gap of where they would like to be and from where they are. I would like to start interviewing and producing content online. And if people watching this want to evolve, I'm willing to commit. So on the link down below, sign up. And if you want to start, we can start. And in the beginning, it will be all free, just starting. So that's what I would like to add up. And I love your summary. And what about this question? What would happen if courage was available in your life all the time, every day? How would your life look like? And what life stories would you share to people around you at social gatherings? I would like to stop there.
Me too. Have a good day, buddy.
You too.